This is an ABC News special report.
And good morning. For those of you who just joined us, we are live covering the national walkout. Students at thousands of schools all across the country leaving class to demand action on gun control. That is the scene in Washington, D.C. right now. A crowd, huge crowd, growing outside the White House.
And it is really a sight to see all over the country. And it is hard to believe that this morning marks exactly 1 month since that massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. That shooting has sparked a nationwide call to action. Organizers say more than 3,000 walkouts are planned.
Today, thousands of students and teachers are leaving their classrooms for 17 minutes to remember the 17 victims killed last month in Parkland. ABC's Victor Okendo is there with more. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Michael. Right now you're taking a live look at the football field here at Stoneman Douglas High in Parkland. You can already see the students have filed out of their classrooms. They've made their way out here. This is the main rallying point for them today. That's where they'll be spending the 17 minutes, 1 minute for every single one of the victims. And as they walked out this morning, they came out to applause. The community is out here as well. They wanted to know that they were supporting them. So you heard cheers, you heard "We're with you," you heard things like MSD, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. This is the spot where the bulk of the students will be. We've also heard from some others who say that they wanted to make their way off campus, thinking that they'd get better exposure, they'd get their message out that way. So there is another rallying point, another walkout area at a park nearby where there will be a prayer service, and some students will get the chance to speak there as well. Broward County School Superintendent Robert Runcie has told staff here not to interfere, not to get in the way of student-led protest, calling this a teachable moment. And there you see it. Let's take a live look once again at the field right here behind me. You can see some people have signs as well. Thousands of students out here, 17 minutes for those victims. Let's bring in a parent who has a child here who goes to Stoneman Douglas. This is Gloria de Jesus. Gloria, what is your son's name and what grade is he in?
His name is Francisco de Jesus, and he is a senior graduating this year.
And is he one of those in the middle of that mix right now?
Yes, he is.
Why did you want to be out here this morning?
Because it's been a very emotional time for all of us, and it's part of our healing, and I'm just so proud of the students and what they've been able to accomplish in creating change for gun laws.
And that's the big thing that they're trying to do today. We've already seen one bill that has been signed by the governor, a gun and school safety bill, but now they're looking to, make some more change. So specifically, what have you talked about with your son when it comes to the rally today?
Well, honestly, we haven't spoken too much about the rally, but he is supportive and he does want to go to Washington to protest.
So he'll be at that march later on this month?
Yes.
So, Gloria, thank you so much, and thank you for being out here today. So, as I mentioned before, the governor did sign one bill, gun and school safety bill, but the kids out here, they're demanding more gun control. They want to see an all-out ban on assault weapons. That is their message here today, as well as the huge show of support that we're seeing around the country. We will be out here all morning long as this walkout and this rally continues to grow. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Victor. Yeah, we want to talk to one of those students right now. Colton Hobb is on the phone from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. So what's the atmosphere? What's the mood this morning, Colton?
I believe that almost every single student that attends my school is out on this football field right now. We're still trying to make our way out. There's just so many people. I mean, it's amazing to see that everybody wants to change and everybody's ready to do this and stand for this, and the strength of our community. Because, I mean, you can see on the other side of the fence, there's just a line of people.
Yeah, we can see that. We're seeing it all across the country right now. We're seeing pictures come in from all across the East Coast right now. We've all seen what happened in Florida. We've all seen how you galvanize public opinion in your state. Did that go far enough for you, and what's your hope for the country?
I hope that we can definitely make schools safer. We can definitely change some of the gun laws and make them a little more strict. That's a big push that we need to push for, and we're actually starting to get successful with it, so I'm glad to hear that. I just hope that we can make a difference, and this will be hopefully our last school shooting.
Do you feel like when you see those other students in high schools all across the country, do you feel that strength in numbers, and how do you hope to build connections between these communities all across the country?
Absolutely. I mean, just the whole strength with everybody. Everybody wants this change. Everyone wants to be there for each other, and I mean, my school, we've been getting so much mail from all these different schools and everybody who wants to send their prayers and best hopes, and we're trying to send as fast back thank yous, and we're there for you as well, and thank you for your support. So we're definitely making a difference here today.
You guys are making a difference. I know I can feel it in my own kids' schools. Good luck for the rest of the day. Go back out there with your fellow classmates.
Thank you so much.
And those students in Parkland taking that call for gun control all the way to Washington, where it appears right now that issue is stalled and on the back burner. Let's go to the White House now, where thousands of students from schools in that area, Washington, Maryland, and Virginia, are gathering outside the White House to protest. And that's where our David Curley is with a moment of silence for those students there. Then, David, they head to the Capitol.
It's many moments of silence, Cecilia. It's an incredible scene here. I'd say at least 2,000 students are here. Many of them have sat down in their silence. If you look in the back, you can actually see some movement. These are more students that are arriving here. They were chanting and has turned around and sat down with their backs to the White House. Here is the White House to this side. And these students, honestly, are now 7-8 minutes into the 17 minutes of silence that they plan to have here. And they were quite boisterous and loud ahead of time with chants about they've had enough, it's time for change, some chants against the NRA. Now, I've asked a couple of students here if they would mind, for our national audience, if they would just break this moment of silence for just a second to talk to us. This is Abby Silverman, who's from Walt Whitman High School in Bethesda, Maryland. I appreciate you breaking this solemn moment that your fellow students are taking part in. Why was it important to be here? What do you want this White House to hear?
It's important to be here today because we really just need to get the voice out. A lot of people here aren't able to vote yet, and I think that's something interesting because we just want you guys to listen to us. We're here for everyone to have a voice, and this is our way of expressing it. We just want the White House to hear us. You
have a couple of friends here. Have you guys had a strong feeling about guns before? Was it Parkland? Tell me why you came.
It really started with Sandy Hook, and we just felt that we don't feel safe in school anymore, and this is a problem. School is a place where we should be able to go and feel safe and learn and not have to fear that something might happen. We shouldn't be scared when there's a fire drill that something could happen.
The president is not here in the White House today. Do you think your message will still be heard?
Yeah, I think our voices will be heard, and they need to be heard.
And what's your name?
Patricia Rojas.
Patricia, thank you very much.
Thank you.
A lot of these students from the Bethesda and Maryland and Virginia areas, as you mentioned, and afterwards they plan to stay here for a little bit. I had another student to talk to, but I think we're going to go ahead and send it. Well, let me get Kevin Butler really quickly. Also agreed to break your silence. Why did you come today?
To make sure that there are stricter gun laws, actually.
And do you think your voice will be heard even though the president's not here today?
I'm pretty sure it would. You know, and there's plenty of people, even if I'm not going to make it change.
Others will help.
Others will help you.
Kevin Butler from Tacoma Park, thanks very much. Guys, back to you. This protest going to 10:17, and then we will hear the chants again.
Okay, David, thank you. We should never as a nation get comfortable hearing children say they do not feel safe in school, George.
Hard to believe, yeah. And all across the country, we're seeing these protests will ripple across in the time zones. But some of the schools are turning it into an all-day event. I want to go to Steve Ostensami, who's at Druid Hills High School in Atlanta. Entire student body participating, right, Steve?
That's right. I don't know if you can hear and see them right now. We've got over 1,000 students who are in front of the school who are out here demonstrating. They're having essentially a program that's taking place today. Joining me right now is one of the organizers of this. She is a senior at this high school. Her name is Lisa Medford. She's got to leave us in a few seconds. She's got a few people to introduce up here. But she's been one of the voices in this today. And as I understand it, not every school district in the Atlanta area is allowing this, right?
No, we are lucky to be part of Druid Hills, where we have a staff and administration who is supportive in our actions, as well as a DeKalb County school system that supports fully this student movement and our student voices being heard in this situation, in this dire need, where we need to take action and have our voices be heard.
It's funny, you were talking about it being a student movement,
yes.
And we were talking earlier, you know, much like the civil rights movement of the 60s, young people were driving that bus. You guys are driving this bus,
yes.
Waving out the window, yelling at folks.
Yeah. We have been in a position where our entire lives we have witnessed school shooting after school shooting, and we are making Parkland that last one. We are stepping up. We are making our voices heard, even when those not even old enough to vote. We are out here. We are telling local and national politicians that this needs to end. You need to pass legislation and common sense gun control that will enable our safe to be a priority within this nation.
And you guys are registering seniors to vote today, too.
We are after this event in our library, we are actually having all seniors in those 17 and a half years and older eligible to vote to sign up to vote.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us. We're going to be here throughout this afternoon talking to students. Back to you.
Steve, before we leave you, though, you mentioned that some districts down there are not allowing the students to protest, but students are defying that as well?
We were told that there were some schools where the students were intending to walk out anyway. So that is happening now. We expect to see some of this all over the country in school districts that aren't allowing students to demonstrate, those students actually do so anyway.
Okay, Steve Osensani, thanks very much.
I mean, these students are so passionate and committed to change, and these walk-offs are going to happen on the West Coast later, I'm sure, but they're happening here on the East Coast right now. And here in New York, more than 1,500 students are walking out of John F. Kennedy High in Plainview, some of them wearing orange for gun violence awareness. ABC's Lindsay Janis is there. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Michael. You can see hundreds of students behind me gathered in front of the school. The organizers are at the podium now. I can tell you one student came out and he started with, if our leaders aren't going to protect us against this kind of violence, then we're going to have to stand up for ourselves. They're going to have a moment of silence. They've also been reading through each of the names of the 17 and telling you a little bit about each of the victims. They also read a poem from Alex Schachter, one of the victims at Stoneman Douglas. He wrote this poem just 2 weeks before he died. It's called Life is Like a Roller Coaster. His words wise beyond his years. You can hear the ceremony going on here. This is a memorial service. That is what they have agreed with their school, but we're told by a lot of the students here, this is also about protest for them. Michael?
All right, thank you, Lindsay.
Okay, let's bring in Martha Raddatz in Washington as well. And Martha, you went to Parkland right after the shooting, spent a lot of time with those students, and we could hear at the beginning of this broadcast what a difference they hope to make, the kind of connections they hope to forge with students all across the country.
They certainly do, George. And what struck me being in Parkland so soon after the shooting is how quickly these young students organized, how quickly they learned about gun laws. They were so eloquent and so composed and mature beyond their years. One young woman, Lauren Hawk, 14 years old, lost several of her best friends, was able to articulate her feelings. Today she is tweeting about the walkout, saying, "We are walking out for the empty desks and the unsaid goodbyes. This epidemic of school shootings must stop." And these are the kids who are organizing all these protests and who want to come to Washington to make real change.
That is coming up on March 24th. We're going to wrap up our special report right now. Those of you at home, if you want to continue to follow the protests, can follow them on abcnews.com. We're going to turn now to regular programming.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.